Well, hello everybody. Welcome to beginner guitar video number 12. In this video, I'm going to show you the intervals, what they look like on a guitar. And the reason I want to cover this is it will help the scale, like the way that things move away from each other as we learn these different shapes of the scale. It's going to help that make more sense. Also, someday when you get into more songwriting or improvising over it's just nice to know your intervals or to make weird chords in different shapes. So we're going to start with what's called a major second or a second, and that's just a whole step to, the beginning of your major scale. That first thing you do, that's called a major second. Okay, now you move back here to your low key and your diminished shape. The first two notes, that's what's called a minor second. Okay. Now back to your major shape. If you go from this note to what your pinky does, it's called a major third. Major third. Now, a major third looks like that. Those are all major thirds. If you're fretting them like that. Now, a major third, if you want to play the two notes together at the same time, looks like the top of your G major chord. But when you get to the funny strings, right, your G to B, this tune difference, a little funnier, straight up and down on top of each other. That's a major third there. So it's helpful to start getting a feel for that, okay? Major third, or major third there. A minor third, go back to your low Korean shape, and you skip your middle finger. That's a minor third. Now take a look. That's where we tune the next string, right? So minor third. So if you let them ring together, you've got second fret low E, open A. That's a minor third. Or that's a minor third. Now your B to G strings, or G to B, good lord. Major third is like that. Well, to get to a minor third, this guy has to shift back a fret. So if you make that shape that's at the top of your G chord, but make that shape from the G to the B string, now you got a minor third. Okay. I gotta fix something. I'm gonna touch the camera. I'm touching your face. Okay, I fixed it. Anyhow, I don't know why people watch this stuff. Now, the next interval we're gonna talk about is the fourth. Perfect fourth. There's no major or minor of a fourth. It's just perfect fourth. Stacked, it's that. Okay. Same fret, same spot. That's what it looks like stacked. Funny strings, it's like that. So you go up a fret and fret that. So it's that part of your D chord, right? Because the D chord, you've got the open D string, second fret on the G string, third fret on the B string. So if you just play that second and third fret, now you've got the fourth. That guy moves around. Those were all fourths. Same goes for the thirds and all of those things. You move them. Those were all minor thirds. No matter where you do it, that's what a minor third looks like. Except for on the funny strings. Okay. So back to the fourth. So there's a fourth. Well, how do we get that? Okay, well, if you start in G, G major, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you play those two notes together, you get a fourth. If you were to try to stretch it out, it's pretty far. You can. You can. But we're about to get to where you can't. And that is the fifth. Power chord. Your power chord is the fifth. Same deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you get there. That's what a fifth looks like. Well, if it looks like that there, what's it look like at the funny strings? Add one more fret. Okay, should be that. It's not. That's tritone. You don't like that. There it is. It's your fifth. Move it around. Okay. Those two back to normal. Funny strings back to normal. Fifths. The flat fifth, that happens when you go. So if you play the first note of Locrian, the fifth note of Locrian, there you go. And you hear that a lot in like bands like Korn and stuff. I use it. You can gnarly up chords with it. It's kind of fun. And again, you can move it around. At the funny strings, it looks like your power chord. Okay. Now we're on to the minor. We'll go in the correct order this time. The minor sixth, the little sixth. So back to Locrian. So if you play both your diminished shapes, where your pinky lands at the end of the second diminished shape and where your pointer starts the first diminished shape, play those together, you got minor sixth. Move it around anywhere, same deal. You got to open it up one more fret at the funny strings. That's a minor sixth. Major sixth. Back up to our major shape. I hope you guys are starting to notice that if it's major or minor, they're kind of based off of whether the mode is major or minor. So here we are back at the major. Up six. Now play that note with your one. That's a major six. That is the same shapes you were just playing the minor six on the funny strings. Okay? Also, take the minor six, open it up a fret, you're in a major six. Okay? That's a major six. You could riff on it. They're useful. You can use them for metal, for whatever. You can use these intervals. Or you cannot use them. You have that option too. Major six. Now up here, major six gets pretty far apart. Okay. Now the next two intervals we're going to cover, you can't really fret them like this. You can try. It's hard. It's hard to do. Okay. We're going to go to the seventh. We're going to start with the minor seventh. Back to Locrian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you're on the second fret of the E string, second fret of the D. That makes a minor 7. But they're straight up and down from each other. You just skip a string and they're straight up and down from each other. It's the easiest way to think of it. There's my minor 7 right there. You know. Now when you get up here, say on the B string, you want that to be your 7th of the note underneath of it. Like usually you skip a string, but if you play it there, you're not in the right spot. Again, that extra fret has to happen. So if it's a minor 7 here, it's a minor 7 like that on that string. Okay? Now the major 7. That's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice it's the same configuration as what happened when you use the funny string, the weirdo string, that one guy. All major 7s happening right there. Now once you get here, that's still that minor 7 shape, so you gotta move it up again, right? And then when you get there, Why? Because with the fourths, it was back to normal. It's back to normal. What happened? Well, this string to this one, because the tuning difference happens there, that also makes the relation from the G string to the high E string weird, just like the way it relates to the B string. So now that minor 7 thing, that shape applies now to G to E as well. So that means the major 7 shape from G to E will be the same as it is from D to B. So there is continuity, it's just at a certain interval, it doesn't really matter. And then once you get there, it takes place. So it's good to note that oh, now that I'm skipping a string, it's screwed up in 2 spots. Shouldn't say screwed up, but I think it's screwed up. Okay, now the 8th, or the octave. We counted up 8 notes. There you go. That's 1 octave up from the root, meaning that's a G, that's a G. You hear those a lot on guitar too. Like you'll hear tons of octaves on guitar. And then when you get to the weird strings, again, it's just open farther. Now, super important to note that these intervals have inversions of each other. What do I mean by that? So G to F sharp is a major 7, okay? But F sharp to G is a minor 2nd, okay? They're inverses of each other. Now, minor 2nds are hard to play. You hear a lot of them in like metal and Korn and weird bands, but yeah. That's a minor 2nd. Well, how do that's one way to do it. So go back to where you tune the G to the B. So you're on the 4th fret there in the open B. Drag that guy back. And now you've got A sharp and B. B is the minor 2nd of A sharp. And so then you just take that idea, move it around, and you can do a bunch of, if you're playing metal, do a bunch of chugging and, grab them. But anyhow, that's what I wanted to cover in this video is the intervals, because with the scale, what's important to note is I always say, from there to there is that tritone shift. When you go from the major shape to the diminished shape, there's a tritone shift. But when you stack major shapes, there's a 4th from one to the next where your pointer finger is. It's always going up a 4th. Up a 4th. When you go from major to the diminished, you go up a tritone. Now when you go from the diminished shape up to the minor shape, it's 4th again. Okay? And from minor shape up to the major shape, 4th again. You're at the weird string, but that's a 4th. So the same thing that was happening there keeps going. There's only one time that doesn't happen that way. When you go from major to the diminished shape, you add tritone shift. Anyhow, that's probably a little more, I don't know, maybe it wasn't. In my head, some of it's probably a little more complicated than it need to be, but you're going to do awesome. This stuff's very important. Please learn it. Take it in, try those weird shapes, see what you think of them. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.